If you're feeling a little sick, there's always some kind of medication you can take to make the sickness go away faster. Same with a headache, broken arm, or even losing one of your limbs, because the intrusive thoughts have won this time. There are always solutions humanity already discovered or invented to aid us in those circumstances. But there is this one disease, one particular illness that till this day has no cure, and that, my friends, is aging. That doesn't mean no one has tried it before. Miraculous creams that will stop aging on your skin, the magical fountain of infinite youth, or watching some Vanus gaming from 10 years back surely will make you at least feel younger. Surprisingly, this phenomenon doesn't only affect us humans, but also your pet hamster that has to die annually, and video games. Now, some video games age like fine wine, such as Far Cry 3, The Sims 3, Heroes of Might and Magic 3, or Minesweeper. God, I love Minesweeper. But some games refuse to stay in a single spot. They want to keep going, keep up to date with the player base, and keep them hooked in with constant flow of content. Or not. New content for the game you love is usually welcomed with a very positive feedback. The excitement that you get when a new character joins the roster, opening new ways to play the game. The joy you get when your favorite character gets a visual update so it's on par with the current state of the game, showing that developers care about the whole game, not just the new shiny stuff. Or you could just pull off a Fortnite and just add wacky dances and a skin every week or two. But what's also very surprising is that some games have suffered thanks to this progressive mindset. The classics getting ruined by the Gen Z approach, communities losing their minds over the overwhelming saturation of new content, and some games even making all of that nonsense their selling point. This has led gamers across the world to simply miss the old days, fall into this nostalgic melancholy void that is impossible to fill, because you cannot travel back in time, right? Right? What if I told you some games, in order to progress, decided to go back? Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of wondering if gaming is a horrible addiction or just a harmless hobby. Today I will be taking a closer look at 3 games that have decided to evolve back into monkeys. Some of them doing that purposefully, but others by a complete accident. What do I even mean by saying evolved back, by the way? And that is a good question, voices in my head. And to give you the shortest and sweetest of answers, it's the phenomenon of games downgrading themselves on purpose to try and give players the feeling of getting back to the golden age. The most commonly known term for this is the original experience, which is OG for short, and if that acronym is ringing any bells in your head, then don't worry, we're about to talk about that in a moment. But before we dive into the cases I have prepared for today, what is the main point I want everyone to take from this video? You see, I have been playing games for quite some time now, some of them bad and some of them even worse, but what most, if not all, recent games have in common are updates or live service. This ensures the player base has always something to do, something to grind, and a never-ending flow of content. Progression and evolution of the game is always made for the game to become better and better, right? Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to a small game some of you might have heard about called Fortnite. Even if you haven't played this game or you're simply embarrassed to admit you have played it before, it's okay, we all make mistakes. There's a high chance you're familiar with the term OG Fortnite. This is an additional game mode added to the game not so long ago, which, as you might expect, tries to imitate how the game felt back in its golden age. That is, if you believe in the term golden age in the first place. This is the first roadblock we are hitting, which is the time frame when the game was in its best possible state, because it is subjective depending on the player. If I just started playing Fortnite today and enjoy the current default Fortnite experience, then for me that is its best possible iteration. But for the veterans who have synced most of their life into this title, poor babies, they know how the game is and how the game was. They have a wider knowledge when it comes to deciding when did they enjoy the game the most, which is completely understandable and reasonable. And even if you simply don't care about others' opinions, we can just take a look at the player numbers chart throughout Fortnite Battle Royale's existence and simply treat the highest peak of this chart as the periodical golden age of the game. But sadly, this is also a little misleading, since the player count graph includes players across all platforms, and only after Fortnite was at its peak of of gameplay satisfaction, did it expand onto mobile devices or allowed crossplay, which in turn made the player count skyrocket. For the sake of the video not discussing when was the Fortnite at its peak, let's just leave this behind and talk about the effect the addition of the OG mode had on the game. Many news sources are saying that upon release, this mode has broken the player records once again, meaning people were once more interested in the game they maybe once played but left due to the oversaturation of content. And I don't blame these people at all, because I myself was one of them, and just take a look at this for example. This is a clear indicator that this is what the players wanted. They didn't care about each new skin that was dropping or just didn't enjoy fishing mechanics. They only woke up upon hearing that the core gameplay most of the players have fallen in love and what caused this Fortnite craze in the mainstream in the first place is back, which clearly means a game can quickly lose its identity simply by overstuffing it with microtransactions, useless, boring, sometimes straight up cash grabby gameplay features. So I ask you this: why update the game in the first place? Overwatch 2 is a very nice spending your money on useless stuff simulator, but it's also a video game to my surprise. Upon going through the biggest change this franchise has ever seen, which is simply adding a number at the end of its title for absolutely no reason, but also tweaking the gameplay here and there, it has been met with mixed feedback. Some players like the new 5v5 format, allowing for a less chaotic environment and making tracking cooldowns much easier as there is one less player to keep an eye out on, but some veteran players till this day miss the 6v6 format, which allowed for more character interactions, a more dynamic, fast and filled with visual effects gameplay. This will always be the case, as Overwatch players will always be complaining about something, but what is an interesting case in here is that what if all of those changes that the number 2 has brought us have been made to slightly worsen the game than what the original game had to offer? What if Overwatch 2 is planning a huge nostalgia marketing campaign where their main selling point is rolling back to the Overwatch 1 days, such as increasing the lobby size back to 6v6. Does it sound crazy? Of course it does, but it wouldn't be stupid. Marketing future updates or changes as coming back to the great roots of the original title can give the new free-to-play player base a feeling that they are getting an upgrade, in a form of getting access to the experience that was previously locked behind a paywall, because in case you didn't know that, Overwatch 1 was originally a game you had to buy for its initial price, and with the leveling system you could unlock 99% of the skins simply by playing the game and leveling up. But Overwatch 2 has a different approach to unlocking stuff inside the game, where now it's just asking for your mommy's credit card number, and playing the game has become a chore you must do to try to save enough credits to afford a battle pass every 3 seasons or so. Of course, Blizzard will not reverse the shop changes. That would be stupid, because now this is their main source of income, and opposite to the price you paid for the initial game, it was only a one-time transaction, but the shop is staying in the main menu for the rest of its days. The reason I'm mentioning all of that is to show you how a game can quickly drop its mask of being your simple source of entertainment to a straight up evil company, just like Coca-Cola. I just have a personal grudge with that fat dude in the red suit, don't mind me. Overwatch is Blizzard, and Blizzard wants to make money, and the more players the game can gather, the higher chances are they will visit the shop and give full access into their wallets. What better move than to bring out the nostalgia card, and with the new hero beings associated with archaeology, dig up the past and invite all of the veteran players back just so the player numbers will go up. And Blizzard will once again have enough money to host drunk parties and harass women in their workspace. So once again, why update the game in the first place? If you still think this sounds too crazy to be true, then the last game I have prepared for today and wanted to talk about is Team Fortress 2. Yes, it all goes back to the good old TF2 somehow. Last week the game has went through something strange, which is the item server going down, which wouldn't be strange at all if not the fact this error has lasted for a solid few days. If you're not familiar with this mystic item server term, let me explain. TF2 is mostly known as a funny hat simulator, but other than the scrap bag, you can also equip your classes with unlockable weapons and silly dances. Both the weapons and the hats can vary in quality, rarity, and some even have some fancy effects attached to them, and all of those things for all of the players across the world are managed by the previously mentioned item server. This means that if there is an error, an issue, or simply a loss of connection to it, all players across the game lose access to their precious inventories and become the equivalent of a rust naked. And that's the exact state the game has been running for a short period of time. This has to be one of the greatest social experiments Valve has ever pulled off, because instead of crying, instead of complaining or uninstalling the game, Everyone simply enjoyed playing the game. Heck, some players even acknowledged a significant performance boost thanks to the servers they were playing on, not loading in all the unnecessary particles and whatever this abomination is. Everyone was playing with stock weapons. No cosmetics, no complaining, just positive feedback. Now that's strange. This shouldn't be right? How can a forced rollback back to goddamn 2007? There are some people watching who are younger than TF2. How can the players accept, or even worse, enjoy the experience caused by an unintentional error? Why update the game in the first place? This is the point in the video. I should give you a nice and clean conclusion of what I want you to take out of this video, but instead I want you to think for yourself. I have presented some raw facts, how the games can be desired more in their older state, how the feeling of nostalgia can be used against us to lure back the original players, or how companies in their goal to upgrade and make the game better are in reality hurting it and slowly causing its own downfall. Maybe your favorite game is experiencing this phenomenon right now. Maybe you had a game you once loved, but it has been turned into some unrecognizable garbage, and the company behind it is desperately trying to reignite the same passion you once felt by luring you in with the illusion of the good old days. My dear viewers, learn to recognize awful and predatory marketing. Seek the red flags of developers putting profit above enjoyment, and most important of all, don't forget to subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, have a lovely day, bye bye.